So again, welcome back to me, welcome back to Thailand, True Blue Thai here in Thailand. Hope you're doing well. It's 1 Sao here in Thailand, which is Friday here, and for instance, and so it was beautiful and sunny this morning, but now it's gone a bit cloudy. But we've had a bit of rain over the last few days, and but we are at the end of the rainy season, so what more can you expect? Anyway, so I hope you're doing well. For instance, so it's Friday, and we've got a Pep press conference later on, and we want to know what he's going to say, because we've got Brentford on Sunday, we've got the ladies tomorrow. The ladies are playing Arsenal, at the Josie Stadium, like big game, so if you're not going to City on Sunday, you can watch the ladies on having a big game against Arsenal, and should be a good game, really, and should be a lot there as well. Anyway, guys, but for instance, we got the Brentford, the G-Tech. For instance, the Brentford, the United Killers. So we got to play them. So we also slagged off United last week, which was enjoyable. But we've got to go there and do it. And and we have to see what we don't want to slip ups like United had last week against Brentford. So let's see. Let's just, before we go into that, let's just have a look at any news which has happened in the last 24 hours. Again, I think there's still a fallout between the Monaco game. I'm still going off. I saw Johnny on Typical City. I've seen a few others also saying the penalty wasn't a penalty. I still not got saying a penalty. I know you're risking a penalty for with your foot that high. I get that. I understand that. And some City fans will say, yeah, well, they are, but no, for me, it's, I thought the referee was weak, and I thought, for instance, it was never a penalty. Yes, he got his foot was up, and but the fact is, his leg was up. Not his foot, just his leg, because and Dyer just ran into his shin. So just ridiculous. And there was a picture of Erling Haaland, I think, with second goal, etc. Where first goal was it? Where, for instance, his leg was high up. So as Johnny said, like for instance on the Typical City, it's okay for a striker to have his leg up, etc. But isn't it okay for anybody if the person, the opponent, etc. Runs into the striker or defender, for instance, and just because he hits his foot, does it mean that, for instance, it's an automatic foul? And I just don't think it does. As far as I'm concerned, his leg was high, but he got his foot touched the ball, not Dyer. And for instance, and he did what he needed to do, for instance, and I just think the referee was weak. And so when he especially went to VAR, I saw a few reactions from, like, say, for instance, during the game when there was a little push in the face by say some like City players, or someone like any good person got any crack in the face or anything was to go close to their face, etc. They went down like a sack of oh, look at me, only find, and the referee gave it the free kick. I saw that a few times by what Monaco did. I'm not saying they were cheating or anything, but I just think the referee needed to see when there's play acting and not and be a bit more less, for instance, believable what you see. Dyer went off and he was moaning about the fact that he's got grass on his face, etc. But the fact that he went down like a sack of spuds, etc. Then had his face in the grass, so not from Nico Gonzalez's foot. So I'm not having it anyway. But it's nice to know, because again, it's how far we've come from last season. The fact that City was so disappointed not get the result. We're by far the better team. Listening to what was his name on ESPN, a French guy on ESPN. I can't remember the tip of my tongue. And he said Man City were robbed. And anybody watching the game, etc., saying that we were by far the better team. And Monaco had a few chances and had basically one chance who scored, and a couple of chances, etc. But overall, Man City were the better team. So, but Again, so but well, as we always say, when you score a goal, you need to go for the second, and when you go for the second, you need to go for the third. And it's not until we're 3-up, etc., with a 3-goal clear, where you can relax, because all these things can happen. And but there you go. Anyway, let's move on to the game. Also news. Erling Haaland. You can't lose too many points like this. We're still 8th in the table. For instance, we're doing a lot better than we were doing last season. Let me just have a look. So Donnarumma and Erling Haaland and Pep Guardiola has been named Donnarumma for the save against United, for the save of the month, Erling Haaland for the goals, and Pep Guardiola for manager of the month. Can't see him getting it. Probably go to the Palace manager, but there you go. That La Liga president again. He's opening his big gob again. He's got a massive cob on for Manchester City. He really has. And he's moaning at Man City, saying we've been in debt for God knows how long. He just talks through his backside. Talk about jealousy. David Silva's been chatting. I'd like to see Pep Guardiola as Spain manager one day. So that may happen, possibly, but not until he's finished with City. So hands off, Pep, David. I just want to say I was shocked and saddened by what happened yesterday in Manchester. I used to work at the Crumpsall Hospital. I know the area very, very well, and I said last time I was living in Manchester. I worked in Crumpsall. I worked at North Manchester General, and for a good few years I lived in the Middleton area, Moston area, before I moved to Thailand. And all the best and shalom to the Jewish community, for instance. Not surprised it hasn't happened sooner. It is, but it's devastating when you see it's happening. And Britain the government needs to do more to protect the Jewish community. So that's and show more respect and stop instigating. And these Palestinian marches need to stop. Because I believe they were moaning, especially on the 7th as well, in October. Anyway, guys, let's move on. Okay, so Darren England will be the referee tomorrow. On Sunday. Ademir Kuzanov will be coached by Pep Guardiola at Manchester City and Fabio Casanos in Uzbekistan. So he's the new manager. I believe he was actually in town. Bernardo Silva and Ruben Diaz had a photo with him. Rico Lewis has been chatting. There's an intensity and desire in training. Everybody wants to do well and push each other to make everyone else do well. If you come off a season where you have not won, it gives you a bit more fire to win. There's definitely a more incentive to show the win. So, and I think that reflects on the fact that how gutty we were was to go and get a point at Monaco. And I do believe, for instance, there is that desire now in the team to win. So, and again, we're unbeaten now in 6. So we've got to look on the bright side. And compared to where we were last season, I get 100 games. I get to 100 games. Yeah, I can't believe it. Rico Lewis, 100 games earlier this in my career, and it's the kind of team. This kind of team is amazing. Thanks to the manager Paul putting trust in me and the players for helping me along the way. I'm still young and feel I've got a lot to learn, and I've got a lot of time. So yeah, honestly, great respect, etc. Because again, a lot of players actually want to jump too quickly. What's going there? Once they get in the first team, they get upset when they don't get in the first team. So, anyway, so let's talk about the game on Sunday. Let's look ahead. So, we travel to the GCAT community on Sunday, West London, 16:30 kick-off UK time. I think it's about 11 o'clock for me. 3 wins and a draw have taken us 10 points in at the stage, while our hosts have amassed 7 points themselves, 3 points from United. With the help of the Optus data, we assessed the challenge for Keith Andrews' side. They were expected to struggle this season, so I think everybody's been quite surprised how they've done. And Keith Andrews is like a new manager, and they lost again. For instance, in Burma was to go to United, a lot of their best players during the summer. So Recent form: the Bees sit 13th in the Premier League after the win against the Rags, and Aston Villa and a draw with Chelsea. Their defeats have come against Notts Forest, Sunderland and Fulham. So there you go. Brentford have a fluid their formation early in the season, playing both 5-3-2, 4-2-3-1 in recent weeks. Last week, recipe for success came from with a 4 at the back, 2 defensive midfielders and 3 in support of the central striker. Whether Andrews elects to play would be considerable attack, and the intent are slightly more defensive. So they think believe it's going to be a 5-3-2, and I expect them to for instance, their guy, for instance, Thiago, for instance, the way he came running out. So they got, I think they'll try and attack Man City on the break. The summer was full of changes against Brentford. The long-term manager Thomas Frank moving on, taking charge of Spurs. Their two chiefs goal threats are Mbemba and Wassab, also found pastures new, as well as captain Christian Norgate and goalkeeper Mark Flecken. So they lost quality players. They made led to many players that may struggle. Many people believing they will struggle this season, but so far they're defying those early odds and predictions. New boss Andrews was also at the club last season and as a set piece coach, and stepped up into the job in the off season. Experienced midfielder Jordan Henderson, goalkeeper Carolyn, fullback Marco Gagodon, and winger Daniel Wassani also arrived at the summer, and having become important to Andrews early on. So again, for instance, not inspiring in signings, etc., but they've done well. Manager Andrew has a long-term career and an energetic in box-to-back fielder throughout his EFL and Premier League, spending time at the likes of Wolves, Blackburn and Brighton, among several others. He's 35 international caps for the Republic of Ireland. Since retiring in 2015, he's worked assistant to MK Dons, the Irish national team, before spells at Sheffield United. He was appointed Brentford set piece coach in summer of 2024, and have worked under Thomas Frank for a season before he got the hot seat. Right. So so for instance, how they score their goals in their 13 Premier League games since Brentford last failed to score. There are 9 goals so far in the best division. Sorry, I'm not quite sure about that. Let me just let's have a look at something else. So their expected starting lineup is Keller, and then Kynog, Collins, Vandenberg and Hickey, Henderson, Yakamuk, Quattara, Damsgaard, Shade and Thiago. So that's what they're expecting. 4-2-3-1. That's also a lineup which they could go for again, for instance. But we'll see how they start up. But they expect them to try and hit Man City. Could play quite defensively and try and hit Man City on the break. City probably more likely will probably very similar size. Donnarumma, O'Reilly, Guardiola, Diaz, Nunes. I expect him to be back in the defence. I didn't think the Stones thing worked out very well. He kind of struggled against fast fast attackers against Monaco. So I can't see Stones playing in the right back. I expect Nunes to be back there. Gonzalez, maybe Rodri's 15 minutes or so, and then Gonzalez, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzalez played. Doku didn't do so good against Monaco. Hopefully he'll improve. Foden, Tiano, Reinders and Savinho, or Silva. I'll go for Silva over the Savinho at the moment. He's not doing it for me. He needs to do a lot more, and I'll bring him on half time maybe. Depends how things go, but a bit more of a maturity. But then again, Silva didn't have a great game against Monaco either, and Haaland up front, of course. Injuries and suspensions. So they've got Edmund, Paris, McGrahan out, Gastio Nunes out, Reece Nelson and Fabio Carvalho. City, we know with Quazzano, Cherki, he might be on the bench. So it was great to see him back. So he might be on the bench. Mamouche and Ryan Ignori and Rodri. I think he might play, etc., but may not. Only maybe play a half. So, but let's see. Overall, I don't know. For instance, again, it's going to be it's going to be a tough start. I want to see what Pep has to say later on regarding the game and who's fit, who's not. I just think, for instance, we've been a little bit hard on ourselves, etc. But I think the odds were heavily backed in Man City's favour. Again, so for instance, we're on 7th in the table. Where Brentford is at 13th. Again, for instance, they've lost against Fulham and to Southampton, to Sunderland, etc. So. Again, it's going to be. I remember the time just before the international break with the Etihad, etc. For instance, and we lost it, the Etihad, but that was just before the international break. Again, we got another game before the international break against Brentford. I don't think they're as good as we were last season, anyway whatsoever. But you got to commend them for being a good solid side. City will probably want to go back in winning ways. I do believe we can win. For instance, I'm going for a 3-1 victory. I've won because I feel that we might concede because, again, for instance, they've got fast attackers, but I don't think we'll be as open as United praying. And I think the players will want to get back into winning ways after Monaco. I'll be nice to see if Cherki comes on for a few minutes, and hopefully Doku will get back into his stride as well. And so I'm a little bit more. So I'm optimistic. It's good, but it's going to be a difficult game against Brentford. But I do believe, for instance, if City play to the standards we can play, we can beat Brentford 3-1. And so for instance, but it's going to be a difficult game. 2-1, 3-1, I expect. But I just think we've got the capability to win. Haaland's still in blistering form at the moment, and I expect him to get at least a goal, and maybe Reinders will maybe find the back of the net with one of his shots. I just feel that guy is due a goal. I really do. I think he's getting a lot of stick at the moment, but I do believe he's putting the effort in. He just can't score the goals. Anyway, guys, but other than that, it'd be nice to see Cherki, and I expect Rodri just to get at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I think he's got problems with his knee, but I don't think it's serious. I think it's myself as a runner, for instance. Again, I've got an issue with my calf at the moment, etc. And you just got to slowly get back. I remember, what's his name, Liverpool. What's his name? For instance, defender who had it, and he had a bit of hit and miss. It's 12 months. He hadn't played football for 12 months. So regardless, he can train as much as he wants, but it's not until the football pitch. And he did kind of overdo it by playing against Spain. Then he played against City, against the Rags. Then we played Monaco. Then we played. So for instance, he has played a lot of football. So he kind of probably overdid his knee, and he just needs to have a bit of caution. And we'll see what happens. But anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what Pep Guardiola has got to say later on, and just hope there is good news for us. But other than that, for instance, I do believe we're feeling a lot not happy because of what happened at Monaco, but I don't think we should be downhearted in any way whatsoever. And I think we can definitely win against Brentford, but it's going to be tough. But I do believe if we play to our strengths, etc., we can do so. Anyway, like and subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking. What's on your mind? Are you optimistic like myself, etc., or pessimistic because of what you saw against United last week? We're definitely not United. So, but we've got to watch. Watch their attackers. But I do believe, for instance, we can win. Anyway, like and subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking and what's on your mind. So, and if you get down to the Justice Stadium on Saturday, great. What they're going to put the ladies. And other than that, I'll speak to you tomorrow, and let's review what Pep said. Anyway, guys, love you, leave you. True Blue Tie from Thailand. Take care, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.